Welcome back to my channel. So today this is going to be a really quick video, but I figured I'd bring you guys along. So today I am making a beef stew from scratch in the Instapot. So I'm going to take you along with the steps that I take and how I make it and how quick it is to make on a weeknight, which is unheard of when it comes to beef stew. All right, let's go. Okay, so I've already started, but to start, I typically would get stewed meat that's already chopped up, but today I got some, what is this called? Beef round top loin. Not even a full pound, and it was just like in steak form, and then I chopped it up myself. This is a cheaper alternative to getting the cube steak, which costs more because the work is already done. And this, you can see what the cut of meat look like. You know what you're getting. You can cut it up into whatever size that you need, and that's that. So this is what we're going to do. I've already cut this up, and now I'm going to get this seasoned. Let me grab some seasonings. All right, so these are the seasonings that I'm going to use. Very basic. I'm going to use some seasoning salt, some black pepper, garlic powder, and some onion powder. Once I get this all seasoned up, this is just to season up my meat. And I'm also going to add those same spices to season up my flour that I am going to dredge this in when I go to fry them up. So let me add that. All right, so I'm just going to season up, and I kind of over season my meat because what I put on here is essentially what is going to be seasoning up your gravy for your beef stew. I'm adding some pepper, some onion powder, and some garlic powder. Now to that, oops, I'm making a mess. I'm just going to mix it all up, just so all of it is completely seasoned. And now I am going to get some flour, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to get some regular flour, throw it into a utility bag. I'm going to season it up with some, all of the same seasonings, the Lawry's or the seasoning salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. And then we're going to throw some oil in the Instant Pot, turn it on to saute, and get that going so that I can get this start sauteing. So yeah, let me go grab a bag and then I'll come back. Be right back. Just to give an idea of exactly how much time it takes, it is currently 6:11 p.m. I have already cut up the beef, which has been about 10 minutes time since I've grabbed it out of the refrigerator, washed it off, cut it up in chunks, and seasoned it. So this will give you an idea of exactly how long it can take to make this, just to show that this can be made in the middle of a weeknight. All right, excuse the outfit. I was not planning on doing this. This is kind of a spur of the moment video, but like I said, we're going to fill up a plastic bag with some flour. And you don't need a lot, since it is only a little bit of meat and we're literally just coating it. That's about all you need. And then I'm going to take the seasoning salt, add that in there, generously add that in there because I want the flour to be well seasoned. Some black pepper, the garlic powder, and I'm going to do the onion powder last because you're sitting on the onion powder to prop you up. So, all right. Now that that is done, I'm just going to mix this all up. And the garlic powder, the onion powder isn't absolutely necessary. We just really want the salt and the pepper to make sure that this is good. Got a little ahead of myself. Make sure this is nice and seasoned. And then, after that is all mixed up, after I've made a nice little mess, we're just going to add this in here. close this up. And then give it a nice little shake. Just to make sure that it is nicely coated. And then our next step is to head to the Instapot. Yeah, the next step is to head to the Instapot, and then we're going to turn it on, throw some olive oil, or not olive oil, some vegetable oil in there. Once it comes up, which is really, really quick, it comes up to heat, we're going to drop this in just to get all of our meats browned, and then to give it something to kind of make the roux. So let's go. All right, so we're going to start this off by hitting the saute button. Once that comes up and beeps, let's go, let's go. Okay, so now we're at that point where the Instapot is starting to heat up. So I'm going to add in my olive oil. Or, I don't know why I keep saying olive oil, my vegetable oil. And I'll show you about how much I put in. So I kind of want to semi-coat the bottom because that's about it. Once I put the meat in, I want to make sure all of it is able to get browned. So I want to make sure there's oil at the bottom of it. So that's going to take about a minute, maybe a minute, before it comes up to temperature, and then it'll be time for me to add in the meat. All right, so while this is actually coming up to temperature, I am kind of got ahead of myself. So I am going to go and grab my potatoes, cut them up. I'm using some fresh potatoes. I'm going to cut up, I'm going to peel, cut up into chunks, and then I have a bag of baby carrots. I'm going to chop those. We'll see. I might chop them in half. I might chop them in half, and I might put them in whole. We'll see. But I'm going to work on that right now. All right, so this is the point where I'm trying to multitask. My oil is coming up to temperature. It's currently 6:19 now, so not much time has passed. But I'm going to try to cut 5 potatoes. But as my oil comes up to temperature, I am about to go drop that in so that I don't want the grease to be burnt. So I'm going to go and drop my meat into the oil. All right, let's go. All right, it's at that point where I can actually hear it popping. So we're going to drop them in. Make sure it's hot. There's a sizzle. All right, so we're going to drop the rest of them in. And right now, I'm just grabbing them out of the bag and adding it into the Instapot. And if it looks like I need a little more oil, I'll just add some more in there, which I think I may. And when it comes to the flour, I'm not shaking too much off because, like I said, I kind of want a lot of the flour in there because the flour is what's going to give it that thick gravy once this is all cooked up. And if you didn't want to do that, you could actually cook it without the flour, and then when everything is done, you can make a slurry with some cornstarch and water, or cornstarch and like a chicken or a beef broth, and you can use that to thicken it up instead of using flour. So this is almost done adding in the meat. Like I said, I've been dropping flour in generously just to make sure that I have some cooked in bits when this is all done. Alright, so this is what we have. And now I'm going to go back. I'm actually going to drop a little more flour in there. Sprinkle that in there because it can't hurt. It's just going to make it a little more thicker, which is what we want. So I'm going to go over there now and I'll work on my potatoes, and I'll just keep coming back and forth to stir over the next couple minutes just to make sure it's all brown on all sides. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to go back and keep coming back here every couple minutes just to stir this up and make sure it's browned on all sides. And to make sure it doesn't get burnt before I start adding in my liquids and the rest of my vegetables. All right, I'm going back to cutting up the potatoes now. I will say this is probably a very unflattering shot, but honestly, I should care, but I don't. This was very impromptu, and I just wanted to, before I cook my dinner, bring you guys along so you can see just how easy it is to cook a little meal, even though it seems like your day is all the way going. And right now it's freezing in Jersey. It's, I don't know, last I checked, but I haven't checked. I know this morning it was like 28 degrees, and I don't think it's going up to much higher. Maybe in the early 30s is probably what it was going up to today. So right now a nice warm meal is definitely much appreciated. So this is just to show you that just because it is late in the day doesn't mean that you can't make yourself or your family a nice home cooked meal that tastes like you've been slaving all day, and you know what's in it. It's nice, it's home cooked, it's hearty, and just in time for this weather. So yeah, I am going to come back. I'm going to actually stop this, and I'm going to come back. I'm going to continue cutting these potatoes, and I'm going to come back when I'm all done. And then I'm going to go and check on the meat. I smell it. It's already starting to smell good in here. Okay, so the potatoes are all peeled up. Now I'm just going to cut them in some even chunks. I hear the beef over there going, so I'm about to go over there after I cut this up and flip them over so that it can get browned on all sides. And I'm trying to make these in even pieces so that everything that I put in there is kind of uniform, so everything cooks at the same time. Now in the Instant Pot, it is only supposed to take, it's bad, I gotta keep stooping down, but it is only supposed to take about 25 minutes to make this, which is wonderful because I know when I make my beef stew, before I had the Instant Pot, it would be cooking for several hours just to make sure that the beef was tender. So, a little piece. I have 1.5 left, and that will be done. And now we can go check on the meat. And I love potatoes in my beef stew. It's like the best part to me. I actually don't put a lot of beef in it because although it is beef stew, I could actually go without the beef. Crazy. I just like the flavor that the beef imparts in the soup. And I really, I'm a vegetable fan, so I really like the vegetables in here. But, all right, this is all done. Now we're going to go back and, now we're going to go and flip over the meat. So this is what it is looking like right now. And I'm just going to turn them over so that it can brown on the other side. Okay, I have tried to turn around all of the pieces. Speeding up my camera. And we're going to let this continue browning. I'm going to let it brown for probably about another 10 minutes just so that it is browned on each side and that little crust starts forming at the bottom here. And then I'm going to add in my liquid, which is I'm going to check to see if I have some chicken broth, and I'm going to add chicken broth in here as my liquid. If not, I am going to add some water in, and then I have this it's Coors beef flavor bouillon. I'm going to use that. So I use the chicken flavor bouillon in most of my foods at this point now, and it's really good. So I've been using lately their chicken with, or their chicken with tomato combination of bouillon. That's also good. So this will be my first time using the bouillon, but typically I would use beef broth and or water, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to check to see if I have beef. If I do have beef, I'll definitely use the broth. If not, I'll be using water with the bouillon. So I am going to come back when it is time for me to add in my liquids. So I am also an onion lover. So while that is still sauteing, I have decided that I am going to cut up an onion and add that to the meat right now while it's still sauteing, just to break down the onions a little more before I add the water in, so that it'll cook down a little bit and saute and start to somewhat semi-caramelize. So I'm going to do that now. Oh, I didn't lost y'all. Alright, I'm going to cut that and I'll come back on. Alright, so onions are all cut up now. I'm now going to go add those into the pot. Alright, onions are in, so I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. So you see all of the bits have come up for the most part, so I'm trying to scrape them up so that when I do add the liquid in, that will use all those lovely drippings, and it's going to make a nice gravy for this beef stew. So for the most part, the beef has been browned. I'm not going to saute these onions. Sorry. I'm not going to saute them too long. Only a couple minutes. Maybe like a minute or two. And then I do have some beef broth, so I'm going to add the beef broth in, and I'm going to add a little bit of the Worcestershire sauce. I'm actually going to add a little bit of that in now to give it a little burst of flavor. I was also going to add in some tomato paste, but I don't seem to have any. So this will be made without tomato paste. That smells good. Alright, I know this is a little unorthodox, this type of video, but I hope you are enjoying this content. I'm still trying to figure out which direction my channel is going in, but it is definitely a lifestyle channel. So one of the things that I do in my lifestyle is cook, and I cook almost daily, so I'm always cooking. So now that this has browned up a little bit, like I said, I'm not really trying to get it cooked, because once I pressurize this, the onions are going to cook. I am now going to add in my beef broth. This is 2 pounds. I think it's 3 cups in here. It's 4 cups in this box. So I'm going to add in this. Of course, you can add in whichever beef broth you like, whatever brand. This is what I have here. So I'm going to add that in. And then I'm going to add in my potatoes. And once I see the potatoes and how much liquid is in there will determine if I add a little water to it. So you just want to make sure you scrape up the bottom so any of those bits are lifted up and the water or the broth has an opportunity to you know, make it into a gravy while it's cooking. All right, so now we're gonna go get the potatoes. All right, I had to put them in. I only have one hand, so here they are. This is how much is in here, which I can leave this just like this. I am gonna also add in some carrots so they can cook up at the same time. And this is basically, trying to see how much it is. It's not much here. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of water. That's my pot saying that saute is done. Now that I add liquid in here. So I am going to, let's stop this. Okay, so now I'm gonna go get my carrots. I'm gonna add the carrots in there. I'm gonna throw a little more herbs in there. And then I'm going to close this up and we're going to get this cooking. As of right now, it is 6:46. So it has been about 30 minutes prep time, I guess, to get everything cooked, vegetables cut up. It's been like a 30-minute prep time. And now it'll be about 25 minutes, maybe like 10 minutes to get it up to pressure. And then 25 minutes to cook. And then about 10 minutes to bring it down from pressure. And that would be the extent of how long it should take to cook this beef stew. All right, so now I'm gonna go grab the carrots. I'm gonna go grab the carrots. I'm gonna add that in there. I'm gonna see how this water levels out, because this is going to determine how much of this stew it makes. So right now, it's not going to be a lot, but it's just 2 people that I'm feeding, me and my mother, so it's enough for us, but we'll see how much. Let me go grab the carrots and stop running my mouth. Be right back. Okay, so I have added in, I have some baby carrots and I added in a half a bag of them. So this is what we are currently looking like. And then once this is all cooked down, then I'm gonna add in a bag of mixed vegetables. Because that only includes peas, carrots, and corn. Well, peas, corn, and string beans. I don't know. I like corn in my beef stew because I like that little burst of sweetness that comes other than peas. I like corn. So I'm going to check my mixed vegetables. If there is not corn in there, I'm going to add a can of corn in. But I'm going to do all of that once this is actually completely cooked through. And yeah, I'll do that then. So this is the meal. We are going to bring this to pressure. I'm gonna change this to pressure cook. It's at 27 minutes. I'm going to leave it at that. Let me go grab the lid. All right. Now it is started. It's on. Like I said, it's going to take about 10 minutes to bring it up to pressure, and then it's going to cook for the 27 minutes, and then it's going to come down. I will probably not wait the 10 minutes to bring it down from pressure. I'm probably going to depressurize it just so I can get the veggies added in and let those start cooking so that I can eat dinner by no later than 8 o'clock. So if we started at 6:11 and this actually gets done, like it should be done. It's 6:54 right now. We started at 6:11. It's 6:54 right now. If this gets done at like 7:30, I should actually be able to eat by like 7:45. No later than 8, but definitely by 7:45. So if you take this as a weeknight meal and you decide that you want to cook, like you get off of work, you get home, and you start this process about 5:30, about 7:30. 7 o'clock, you and your family should be ready to eat if you wanted to make this type of meal. So it is definitely possible, but like I said, I will let you know the timing and everything once this is done. But right now this is coming up to pressure, and once this is cooked, I will jump back on here. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so this has now come up to pressure, and this is where we're at. And I'm just gonna get a spoon. All right, so I'm just gonna mix it up. This is what we got. And now everything is nice and tender. Yep, just breaks right apart. And now I'm just going to add in my mixed vegetables. I'm going to put this on saute for about 10 minutes just to let those vegetables cook down, and then beef stew is done. Yeah, so personally, yeah, I look a hot mess, and I honestly just don't care, obviously. But I am going to make me some rice. Normally when I make beef stew, just to keep it nice and filling, I like to make some white rice and then I pour it over top of it, which is what I'm going to do. And I know it's starch with more starch, but I don't even care. So basically it is 7:59. This will cook down for about 10 minutes just to cook the frozen vegetables that was added, and then this meal is done. So I will let you guys see when I plate up my plate. And like I said, I know it actually took longer than I expected because I did add another 10 minutes to the cooking time just for my own. I just wanted to make sure that it was actually tender. So instead of 25 minutes, I did 35 minutes. And excuse the nonsense that lives above me. Sounds like a bunch of animals, but apparently it's children. Anyway, I added a little more time, and then when the pot was coming up to steam, it was not closed all the way, so it didn't come up long, so it took away some extra time there as well. But for the most part, if everything is done correctly, this shouldn't take more than an hour and a half to prep and cook this. But I will come back on when it's time for me to put this all together and plate this up. All right. Okay, so my rice is done, and I am going to pour over a spoonful. Here's the beef stew. And I'm just going to pour some over my rice. Alright, so this is it. Here is, we'll call it weeknight beef stew. Not an extra special, but it is nice and hearty, home-cooked meal, and you can do it. This was just a Sunday night. I started at 6 o'clock. It is now actually 8:30, but that's because instead of doing the rice when I was supposed to, like while the food was cooking, I did everything afterwards. But if you did everything that you were supposed to in the timing, it should take no more than an hour and a half to make this. So here's the meal. I'm about to eat, and then I'm actually going to take myself to bed so I can get ready for work in the morning. So I hope you enjoyed this cooking with me. Like I said, it was something very simple, very last minute. Yeah, if you enjoy it, I hope you come back and visit me for the next video. I'll probably be cooking more because I really do enjoy cooking, so I'll probably be taking you along cooking with me and any other lifestyle content that I decide to do. Either way, thank you for joining me. If you enjoy what you're seeing, please think about liking and subscribing to this liking this video and subscribing to this channel. I thank you for your watch time, your time, and I hope to see you in the next one. All right, bye.